Hi there, Dory Sukup here. I have a special presentation for you. I have been getting many requests from many members on how to present the volume per guest compensation model to a new hire. So they're excited about the opportunity to work with you and to get them to see their true potential and how much income they can truly generate by working with you. So I have prepared this nice presentation for you to help you with that process, so you can make it very easy for them to understand it and for you to explain it. So here we go. So the first thing I want to go over with you is the preparation that you need to have in place before you actually make the position offer. So now I'm hoping that you're following the Clarity hiring system in doing the position description and the commitment agreement, and that you're using the interview form to truly identify this key player and make sure that you're hiring an A or a B plus player to begin with, so you can avoid hiring mistakes. So the first thing first. So the one thing that you need to have clear in your mind is the kind of compensation model you're going to have within your place. So you need to identify what that is. If you have not done so already, you may want to use one of your Coach Me Platinum calls with me so I can help you identify what is the compensation model for your place, and that it stays within the ratio, the financial ratios that we're shooting for. So the first thing you've got to do is identify your compensation. The next thing is, when you're identifying your compensation, you need to decide on whether you're going to pay these individuals that are joining you hourly, or are you going to pay them hourly with the parachute model that I teach, or hourly plus bonuses, plus key performance indicators, rewards, plus benefits. So we need to identify exactly what is that model. Because to me, it's very important to do a compensation mix. You've heard me talk about this. So it's not just about discussing, oh, this is how much I'm going to pay you. This is the percentage. This is how much an hour. It's not about just that one thing. It's about the entire compensation mix. So your compensation model should include either hourly or commissions, benefits, KPIs, and whatever gratuity or whatever model you have going on in your place. So it's very important when you're presenting the compensation model to a new hire, it's very important to enforce the point that it is a compensation mix. They don't just get paid one way. And the reason you want to do that is because your competition is only paying one way. So if you're just discussing one way, then you're comparing apples to apples. We don't want to compare apples to apples. We want you to be an orange, so there's no straight comparison to your competition, and your competition should be the apple. So when you're interviewing someone, you're talking to them about all these great opportunities that they have in generating revenue with working with you. Does that make sense? All right. Then as far as the benefits, I mean, many of you are actually offering some awesome benefits, but if you are going to offer benefits, you really need to identify how much is this costing you, so we can include it within the offer, and you can also include it within the financial ratios, so we make sure that you are on the right track and that you're going to have enough profit for your business. Okay, so and then the very important thing also in preparation in making this offer is to show them the career path. See, nobody wants a dead-end position. So we want to show them how they can start maybe as a entry-level therapist, and they can be a department lead, then maybe they can be a spa or a medi-spa lead, they can become a supervisor, they can become a manager. So show them that career path so they can see the growth opportunity that they have within your organization. So those are the first things that we need to make sure we have in place before we even make the position offer. So I'm hoping that you already have all these things in place, and if you don't, again, you need to get that going before you can actually make a position offer to someone. All right, so let's talk about how to present the pay for a new hire. The first thing that's very important to me for you to address with them is to share with them your belief. Your belief is to offer a performance-based compensation model. You have got to be using these words. What is it? A performance-based compensation model. That's what we want to drive into their head from the very, very beginning. So I want to share my beliefs with my new hire. So I start with that statement, right? So working with us, we believe in a performance-based compensation model because I would like you to be as productive as possible. And the more productive you are, the more money you can earn. The less productive you are, the less money you will earn. Now, of course, when we interview and hire people, my goal is for me to pay you as much as possible because I want you to make a lot of money. I want you to be a high performer, right? So that's why we have this model in place to reward you for excellent work, and then maybe you won't get so rewarded if you're not so good. So we believe in paying you your true worth. That's another key phrase. We believe in paying you your true worth, right? So performance-based compensation, and we believe in paying you your true worth. So then what I want to do is explain to them how we actually calculate performance. And how we calculate performance is through the volume per guest, right? The VPG. So the VPG model is very simple to calculate, and you should all know this by now. But we've got to show them, grab a calculator and actually show them or have them figure out the volume per guest so they can get used to calculating it and actually understanding it, right? So I would use an example of what they've done in the past. So I could say something like this. I say, Lisa, when you worked for the XYZ spa or Medi Spa, how much would you say you average in revenue per month? And I would have her enter that amount into the calculator. And then I say, okay, well, how many guests would you say you had during a month when you worked there? And they tell you, okay, so divide that by the number of guests. And that's going to give us a volume per guest. So what you did is actually average this much revenue per person that you saw. Okay, so that's how we calculate VPG. And our goal as a company is to be able to deliver a great guest experience for our clients, but also to increase that volume per guest. And the higher the volume per guest is, the more money you can make. But the less that volume per guest is, the less money you will earn. So of course, my goal for you is for me to pay you as much as possible. And I'm going to show you and teach you and train you on how to be able to maximize that volume per guest so you can earn the most amount of money possible. So that's how we calculate the volume per guest for treatment volume. Now we do the same thing for retail volume. So how much in retail did you generate in 1 month? For example, have them enter that number in, and then how much, same amount of guests in the same month. So this is how much you are averaging for retail, right? And that way they understand how it is. So the formula for calculating the VPG is so simple. At the end of each day, we're going to monitor how much revenue you brought in for treatments and how much revenue you brought in for retail. And how we do that is by taking the service volume and dividing it by the number of guests. And that gives us the service volume per guest. And then do the same thing for retail. Take the retail volume divided by the number of guests, and that's going to give us the retail volume per guest. So in working with us, Lisa, what we will actually do is come up with targets for that volume per guest. And we don't just pull numbers out of thin air. We actually take what that department, let's say you're interviewing for an esthetician, we would take the target for what an esthetician actually is averaging per guest, and then we increase it by a small amount to help us increase that number. And again, the more it's increased, the more revenue you can actually generate, the more income you will actually generate, right? And that's what I meant by getting paid your true worth, because you really get to decide how much money you could earn by how good you are. And through the interview process, you were expressing to me on how great you are at making recommendations, how great you are in identifying the guest concerns and how you make recommendations. So from what we were talking about earlier, I'm confident that you'll be able to make a very nice income in working with us. All right? So now let me tell you how the bonus scale and how the compensation actually works. So what we do is every position within the company has a high income potential, a medium income potential, and a low medium income potential. And how we come up with those ranges is through doing research on websites like salary.com or on indeed.com to determine what each position's parameters are. So for example, in working with an esthetician, if you go on Indeed or salary.com, you punch in the zip code of your area, you'll be able to see the high, the medium, and the low ranges. Once you identify those ranges, we can actually create your compensation model to fall within that competitive environment within your zip code or your area. Okay, so that's how we get the information for the high, medium, and low potential. So all pay comes down to an hourly rate, right? Whether you're paying bonuses, commissions, it doesn't matter. No matter how you cut it, slice it, whatever, it comes down to basically an hourly rate. Now, if I ask Lisa, how much money did you earn last year? What was your W-2 or your 1099? How much revenue did you earn? What was your income? And she tells me, and let's assume she worked 40 hours a week. So take the 40 divided by or take the 40, multiply it by 50 weeks. That's going to come up to about 2,000 hours. So 2,000 hours divided by the amount of revenue or income that she generated, that's going to give you her hourly value, basically, of how much money she earned in the past. Why is it important to really realize all this? The reason you want to do this, especially if you have a day spa, everybody gets stuck on the commissions, right? I want to get paid 50%. I want 40%. I want 60%. Well, that's just stupid. 50% of nothing is nothing. It has nothing to do with the percentages. It has to do with what it boils down to as an hourly rate. So if you gear them away from that whole compensation commission structure that most day spas are still stuck on, if you boil it down to an hourly rate, then she's no longer stuck at that 50%. So yeah, you got 50%, but the bottom line is this is how much you made per hour. I don't care what the percentage was, right? It comes down to an hourly rate, you guys. That's what you want to get across to them, right? So it's very important to keep that in mind. So find out how much they made last year, divided by the number of hours. That's going to give you an hourly rate. So we've just taken the conversation from this whole commission structure to more of an hourly structure, right? Even if you're not going to pay them hourly, it doesn't matter. It's still, if you're going to pay them commission, it's still going to come down to that hourly rate, correct? Now, you have the Excel spreadsheets that I gave you in order to calculate how you're going to pay people. So it's very important for you to have that already calculated and figured out how you're going to pay them, because you're going to use that information to actually go over with them how you're going to pay them, right? So this is where you come in with the compensation mix. Lisa, in working with us, as I mentioned, we believe in having a compensation mix within your position offer here, and your compensation mix is going to be getting paid for treatments that you do, getting paid for retail, getting bonuses for achieving certain KPIs, and maybe some benefits that you guys are going to offer them. So that's the compensation mix that we're talking about. So it includes all these things. So I'm going to switch over to one of the Excel spreadsheets to show you how to explain this. And I'm going to have actually Craig take this chart and insert it into the video so you can see what I'm talking about here, okay? So the one I'm going to use as an example is the option with the chart with the hourly option. So let's say you're going to pay hourly plus bonuses based on targets. So you could do this for whether it's a esthetician, massage therapist, RN, I mean, you name it, it's up to you what you want to use. And as you remember, these Excel spreadsheets have 4 tabs on the bottom. They have the targets, where we set all of our parameters, and then you have the income high, income medium, and income low. So let's say, for example, we want our VPG, our volume per guest for treatments, to be $180, right? And for reaching the highest level, we're going to, let's say, pay them 2% commission or bonus. For 162, which is 90% of the target, we're going to give them a 1% override. And then for 144 VPG, we're going to give them a 0.5%. And then for the retail, let's say the retail target we're shooting for is $50 at the highest amount. And let's say we're going to pay them 12%. And then 10%, and then let's say 7%, okay? Now we come to the income, now that we've set our parameters, and if we are going to do a retention, let's say if the retention rate is 65, they're going to get an additional 0.10%. If they're going to get testimonials or guest satisfaction, they're going to get another 1/10 of a point. And then if they get X amount of referrals, if they get 10 referrals a month, they're going to get another 1/10 of a point. And then if they get self-generated people, let's say 5, you're going to give them another 1/10 or whatever amount you want to do. It's up to you. Okay, so all that comes up to about a little bit less than 0.5%. And then let's say you want to give them credit towards their insurance or something like that. Let's say you want to give them $150 credit towards the insurance. And if you're a day spa, they're going to be able to earn gratuity on top of it. So, or even if you're a med spa and you have an esthetician, usually they can also earn gratuity. So let's say that's another 15%. So we've just set up all of our parameters here, right, for calculating what they're going to end up making. So let's say that we're going to pay them $15 an hour, right? So then they're going to be working full-time at 160 hours. So that means they're going to make $2,400 from the hourly rate, correct? That's their base. And then let's say they're going to see 100 people in 1 month. So that means they're going to generate $18,000 if they reached $180 VPG. So they're going to make another $360 in bonus. And if they reach the $50 retail, they're going to make another $600 in bonus. So their total bonus now is $960, and their hourly rate is $2,400. Plus they're going to make another $72 from the KPIs, and they're going to make the $150 in benefits. So now their gratuity is about 15%. So they're going to make $6,200 a month, $75,000 a year, and they're going to average $39 an hour, right? Now, that's including gratuity. So if I was to zero out gratuity, basically you're going to pay them $22 an hour, right? So you're paying them 22, or they can be earning $39 with the gratuity. Now, if you're allowing them to get gratuity, or if your place takes gratuity, it's very important to make sure the gratuity is calculated as part of this compensation mix, right? So these are all the ways they get to earn money. So they're going to be able to make $39 on the high end. So if I came to the medium, I use the same numbers, $15 an hour, 100 guests, 15% in gratuity. They're going to make $35 an hour on the medium. And on the low, again, using the same numbers, and 15% for gratuity, they're going to make $32 an hour. That's with the gratuity, right? So in working with us, you have the opportunity to make between $32 an hour on the low end. But since you're telling me you're so great at what you do and you're great at recommending, now you have the opportunity to make almost $40 an hour or more. You decide. So now we have taken away the conversation from percentages or all this madness that you guys go through, especially day spa folks. Preferably, I mean, in all reality, if you're a busy place and you have lots of clients, you'll probably be better off doing a small hourly. It could even be $12 an hour. It doesn't have to be $15. It could be $10 an hour. It depends, again, on your area, where you live. So it could be lower hourly, or it could be higher based on where you are or how busy you are. And then you give them the bonuses. So the bonuses are tied into the actual performance. So let's say I did all this and you know that that's how you're going to pay. So this is how I would explain this to a new hire, right? So I already know my numbers. Now a lot of you ask me, do you show them this? Not necessarily. I would use a pen and a paper, and I already know these numbers in my head, and I would just have a conversation with someone. You have to be real about what the offer you're making now. So I would say something like this: Lisa, when you're working full-time with us, let's say you're working the 160 hours, right? And let's say you're gonna be seeing about 100 people in a month, right? So what I was talking to you with the compensation mix is this. So we pay an hourly rate, let's say of the $15 an hour. But by the time we add all the other compensation mix in here, which are your bonuses, if your volume per guest is $180 on average, then you're gonna get to have a bonus of another about $1,000 actually, if your VPG is $180 a month, which I'm confident you can achieve. So that's going to be another $1,000. And then for retail, if your VPG is another $50, you're going to get another $600 in retail. And then you have your key performance indicators, which will be another approximately $100. And then you have your gratuity. So your KPI is about 100, and then your gratuity is another 2,700. So when you add all these up together, Lisa, you're gonna be able to average almost $40 an hour. That's the opportunity that you have in working with us. Now, this is if you are an A player, right? This is the best. Now, here's the best part about all this is that the more people you see, again, the more money you're going to be able to make, correct? So $40 is assuming you're only going to see 100 people, right? Now, if you're a B player, then you're going to be able to make approximately $35 an hour. And if you're a C player, which frankly, I don't want you to be a C player. As a matter of fact, I don't want to hire C players. So if you're a C player, then you're going to make about $30 an hour, including the entire compensation mix. So you decide where you want to be. It depends on your efforts, the type of experiences you deliver for the guest, the kind of recommendations that you make. So the higher the VPG is, the volume per guest is, the more opportunities you have to increase your income. And the less it is, the less you will make. And that's what we mean by offering a performance-based compensation model. You decide on what level of income you want to achieve. And you know what, Lisa, the beautiful thing about this model is it falls within the parameters of how people are making money in this area. Because again, we don't just pull numbers out of our hat. As a matter of fact, we increase them for the A players because we really want to attract great, talented people like yourself. Now, in addition to this, I just want to share with you the career path that you can take with us, because we believe in promoting from within. So you may start here, but based on your desires, on your goals, you might end up, over here. This is the path that we can draw out for you. Now, if you want to show the charts, you can. But again, I like having the conversation and talking with them and making them realize the opportunities that they have here. Their main thing should be focus on that volume per guest, because the higher that volume per guest is, the more money they can make. So if we can get this into their mind and shift that mindset from the commissions to an hourly rate, then you're gonna be much better off. Now, I did the hourly rate here as an option. Now, if you wanna do the parachute option, then you would just pull up the Excel spreadsheet with the parachute option, because then your hourly is going to be much lower. It's going to be your minimum wage, and then your bonus is going to have to be a little bit higher. But anyway, this tutorial is not about how to set up the compensation model. It's more on how to explain it to a new hire. So if you need help setting up your compensation model, you should really call me up and do a private coaching session with me, and I can help you set up your parameters and how you want to pay. So the thing is that's so important, you guys, when we're making a position offer, is to have all your ducks in a row, have all your material ready, your numbers, and the main thing you want to focus on, again, is that parameter. And I would pull up like the Indeed or salary.com, and I would show them, like we did not just pull these numbers out of thin air. So Lisa, I just want to show you that what I'm going to offer you is within the parameters of what this position is valued at based on Indeed or salary.com. So I would pull up aesthetic, massage therapy, RN, whatever, punch it in. These are the parameters, and here's the offer for the position. So we have just totally taken the conversation again from, oh, this is what I want to make, to this is what we're offering, right? It doesn't matter what they want to make. It doesn't matter the percentage or the hourly or whatever. We're talking about, again, that compensation mix that we want to get across to them. So those are the main things that you should look at. And then once you explain that to them, then you need to give them the target. So the target for the volume per guest for service is 180. The target is 50. So looking at what you've done, Lisa, in the past, and looking at what we offer here, our pricing, the menu, and everything that we have going on, how do you feel about being able to achieve $180 VPG for service or $50 for retail? Do you feel that these are numbers that you could actually achieve? And get them to answer you. Because listen, if we know that they're not going to achieve them, or if they feel wimpy about achieving them, I need to save myself a lot of heartache and pain and save them a lot of aggravation. Because if they can't look at me right now and tell me, yeah, you know what, Dory, I'm confident I can achieve that. And you know what? I'm going to put that in my commitment agreement. So, Lisa's saying she is confident on achieving $180 VPG, and she's going to train and study and do all the things necessary to be able to achieve it. And then she's also able to achieve the $50 retail. And she's also committed to working full-time and seeing at least 100 people in a month. So that's not even at what capacity is that? 100 of 160. Is that 60% capacity? So what we want to do is make sure that they understand what they're coming into. Because the last thing you want to do is hire someone, invest in their training, take the time to show them the way, and then them telling you, oh, but I don't, I want to get paid 50%. So that's not what we want. So we want to make sure that when we make the position offer, we are very, very clear on what we're trying to accomplish. What we want to accomplish is clarity. We want to make sure that they understand what they're coming into, right? So let's recap a little bit. So the first thing you want to do is the first thing first, right? So identify what plan you want to give them. Make sure that you decide on whether you want to do the hourly plus bonus or the hourly and the parachute. So it's up to you. Make sure you identify the benefits, the KPIs, whether you're collecting gratuity or not. So let's identify all these opportunities that they have. And you know what? You might want to, I haven't done this for you, but you might want to have like a form that you show the compensation mix, and then you explain each one based on what you're offering, right? So that would be good for them. Again, people understand a lot more when you show them something visually as well as auditory. So make sure that you do both. And then you want to show them any benefits that you have. And if those benefits are also in writing, that would be a big plus. So show the compensation mix, then show the benefits, and then that way they can relate. And then maybe on another form, you can show them the income potential. And that's basically what I did on this page, is I'm showing them the income potential that they can reach in working with us. So that's the first thing you want to do. And then the next thing that we discussed was getting your belief system down, talking about that performance-based compensation, getting paid their true worth, right? You decide. Those are all key phrases that you must use during your position offer. You decide on how much money you want to earn. I'm giving you the opportunity, but it's up to you, right? So those are the things. Explain the volume per guest. So you might want to also on your form show the formula of the volume per guest so they know how to calculate it. Use the calculator with them, because again, once they start using it and understanding it, they're going to have a much better clarity on how the whole concept works. Okay, and then of course pull up Indeed or salary.com or whatever website, put your zip code, show them the parameters of the high, medium, and low, and then present the opportunities that they have in working with you based on the position that you're hiring for. And I would do the same thing for every position, you guys. So whether it's a nurse practitioner, whether it's an RN, whether it's a therapist, massage, nail tech, whatever type of business you have, it does not matter. You should follow that same process. And then set them up properly. So once they accept this position offer and they sign, right, they should sign the position description, they should sign the commitment agreement, they should sign the position offer with how you're going to pay them, and then you welcome them to the team. But if again it's wishy-washy and they don't you could tell they're just not feeling it. You don't think they can achieve these requirements from them, then save yourself the time and the money that you're going to spend on them and move on. Find you an A player. That's really what you should be recruiting, is A players, instead of just putting an ad in the paper and hoping people are going to come to you. Yes, you need to do that, but I would much prefer you go out and recruit the quality people that you want, so you can have a great team. You're building a great team that wants to be driven and wants to do well. You want hungry people. You want motivated people. The last thing you want is lazy people that are just gonna walk in and just, oh, how many people do I have today? Oh, I don't have an appointment till 11. Okay, I'm gonna go to Starbucks. I'll be back. That's not what we want. So all that's done through the interview, through making the position offer, and to getting them to sign off on all these requirements that we actually have and expect from them. So once they agree, they accept the position, then make sure you use your orientation manual to get them on board and get them to, again, see the clearer picture of what you're trying to do here. And then you start your training program. Again, all that should be part of the position offer. You need to show them that you are investing in them. We're not just another business. We are a very special day spa or medi spa. We are a business that invests in its people. So as part of our onboarding, we go through the orientation. So we spend a half a day going over exactly all the expectations and working with us and getting you to meet the rest of the team. And then we start our technical training, and then we start the business training, because we want to teach you the Pride system, and we want to teach you how to upgrade treatments, how to do a proper consultation, how to recommend retail products. So I want to invest in you because I want you to make the most amount of money possible. That's my goal for you. Sounds good? Sounds good. And that's how we need to do the explanation of the VPG, you guys. But again, if you're not clear on it, you're not going to be able to clarify it very well for them. So you must be very clear. So I hope that this tutorial helped you in explaining how to present the volume per guest. And it is a presentation, right? That's what you want to do. You want to present it in a way that they're lucky to be working with you. They are. You are special. You have a great business. You have the opportunity for them to grow with you. So if you position it as such, then you're going to select a much better and qualified team members. Right? Right. So I hope you benefited from this. If you have any feedback or comments, make sure you send me an email with it. I'm so excited that you got to watch it. And I look forward to hearing how you've implemented it and how much success you've had with it. So until next time, stay inspired. Bye now.